Welcome back to Labeled, the stories, rumors, and legends of Tooth and Nail Records. And in case you hadn't noticed, it's almost Halloween. So we thought this would be the perfect opportunity to explore some Tooth and Nail lore. Now, this particular episode is all about a creepy venue in Milwaukee that lots of Tooth and Nail bands have played. Everybody I know has played there, and everybody comes away with the same thought, the same stories. Wow, what a creepy place. Today's show is sponsored by MeUndies. Get 20% off your first pair plus free shipping by going to MeUndies.com/labeled. That's MeUndies.com/labeled. Today's show is also sponsored by Harry's Razors. To get your free trial set, just go to Harry's.com/labeled. Harry's.com/labeled. Now, this venue is called the Rave, and it's in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And to properly set the scene, we're going to go back in time.
Ooh, I'm the boogeyman, the terrible, horrible boogeyman. I come in the middle of the night and frighten bad little girls like you. Beware, better have better. I'm going to follow you everywhere.
This is the Rave. The haunted room.
I feel weird. I feel really scared all of a sudden.
If you have ever attended a show at the Rave, you already know how creepy it is, but we realize that lots of you probably haven't. So we're going to fill you in on some of the history and rumors that have haunted the venue for almost as long as bands have been playing shows there. The Rave was built in Milwaukee, Wisconsin 90 years ago, not as a concert venue, but as what would be known at the time as the grandest Eagles building in all of America. This massive 180,000 square foot building was designed by architect Russell Barr Williamson, student of famed architect Frank Lloyd Wright, and opened to the public on September 13th, 1927. It was so large and impressive that by the 50s, it was the Eagles Club national headquarters. Back in Milwaukee during its heyday, the Eagles Club building, Area number 137, featured an athletic club with a 2-story gymnasium, a bowling alley, a boxing ring with seating, a basketball court, handball courts, and a 50-foot by 75-foot indoor swimming pool. There was also a variety of lounges, a barber shop, a radio station, a restaurant, pool hall, and a covered outdoor rooftop lounge. The building's crowning glory, however, was the Eagles Ballroom. At that time, it was considered to be the largest and most beautiful ballroom in all of America, at 25,000 square feet with a capacity to hold 4,000 people. To say that the Eagles Hall was opulent is only scratching the surface. It looked like something straight out of a 1920s fairy tale. Massive carved pillars, elegant domed ceilings, private balcony seating, carved mahogany furniture, and sumptuous velvet curtains. It was very impressive. The Eagles organization itself was founded 118 years ago by 6 men who wanted to establish an order of good things. In fact, the group's original name was the Order of Goodfellows, but changed the following year to the Fraternal Order of Eagles.
Hey, this is Scott from Zayo. I would say the creepiest venue I ever played was probably the Rave in Milwaukee. It was right next door to the hotel Dahmer did some of his insanity, and being in a metal band, I've always been fascinated with serial killers and stuff, so that was kind of neat to see. A little creepy, but whatever. And then also you hear the stories of like people dying in the pool that used to be in the Eagles Ballroom. We were given a tour of like some of the bigger rooms, and they were all dark and crazy, so it was definitely gave a little bit more to the aura of creepiness there. But yeah, man, it was pretty neat. I mean, I didn't see anything obviously, but it was still cool to be in that big old room. But yeah, the Rave, man, creepy place.
You have been to the Rave, right?
Oh yeah, bunch of times.
Here's Matt and I talking about some of the historical facts that I uncovered while researching the Rave. Can you tell me what it's like?
The building is huge. I mean, it's really, really tall and wide. It just takes a big plot of land up, and it's stone, like stone masonry all put together, and just looks real old. It looks like it's old, but still like half maintained or something. Like it's not an antique, and it's not totally restored. It's just somewhere in between.
So what is the Eagles ballroom like?
Yeah, so that room, I think it probably holds like 3,000 or 4,000 people. They have pictures on of what it used to be like, and that's all I can't get out of my head. It's like you can just imagine 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 middle-aged white men that all belonged to a certain society, and they were watching a boxing match of like two other white men in the ring in the 50s is what it looks like. It looks like you would imagine that would be.
This has been his trademark.
It's got all this detail in it. Every inch of it is like detail work where somebody carved this or painted that, and it's all hand work. So even the ceiling is just super ornate, and it's got all this carved woodwork, and there's a balcony, and then the railings, and then the front of the balcony and the columns, and it's a 360 oval room with and you can just, if you go up there, when you're playing there, we're never playing the big room, so it's empty. So you kind of sneak around and go through a staircase that kind of looks modern, like a staircase would in a hotel or something, and then you find your way into this place, and it's dark, and the lights are off mostly, and so you just, it's like a tomb or something. Like it's empty but giant and purposeful. It's weird to see that much detail and stuff and just kind of be unused. You can even just imagine if you were in a giant, super fancy theater and you were walking around in the middle of the night and nobody was there. It's automatically creepy, and this one's even more so because of where it is and the location and the history and some of the other stuff about it.
People have actually seen in the Eagles ballroom, they'll see like a shadow man on the up in the balcony. And they say that back in 1959, Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and a guy called the Big Bopper played one of their last shows at the Eagles Club Hall before all three of them were killed in a plane crash. And so they say that like the shadow people that are seen might be them.
I would say if that's true and the ghost of Buddy Holly has watched my band play, I don't think that's creepy. That's just the coolest thing I've ever heard. If the ghost of Ritchie Valens has seen us play Walls at the Rave, I couldn't think of anything cooler than that.
Hey, it's Zach from Sent by Ravens, and hands down the scariest venue I've ever been in was the Rave in Milwaukee. It was across the street from that hotel that Dahmer killed all those people in. As soon as you walk in the place, it looks like you're walking into a meat cooler. And then there's this empty swimming pool in the basement that there's no telling what went on down there. What I remember most is Toby wouldn't get off the bus. He says, "I can't play tonight, the spirits will get me." And they had to play instrumental. That's all I remember.
Most band dudes have some sort of story about the Rave in Milwaukee. Yeah, this is Jonathan, bass player Demon Hunter, and former A&R guy for Tooth and Nail Records. The Rave is one of the coolest venues that you can visit. Don't fact check me on my history here, but I believe it was built in like the 1920s-ish, and it was like an Eagles Lodge, and it's this giant, I don't know how many, 5-6 story building that, has all these different venues and ballrooms, and it's got an Olympic swimming pool in it, and on the walls and stuff they have photos of like Muhammad Ali fighting there and these famous boxing matches and all this kind of stuff. So Went through a few different hands over the years, and the way that I understand it is like the YMCA had taken over in like the 70s, and it was kind of like community center with, the swimming pool was open to the public and stuff like that. So super cool building now. I think they have like 3 or 4 different sized venues. Last time we were playing there, Stone Temple Pilots was actually playing the top floor, like the ballroom, which was awesome because you can sneak your way around back, and there's a catwalk that goes to the top of the like dome sphere on the top, and we just got to stand above the stage and look from like 2 stories
You
up.
got to watch Stone Temple Pilots in the Eagles ballroom?
Yeah, that's how big the venue is you can have Stone Temple Pilots on one end
That's
and Demon
awesome.
Hunter on the other end. Our first time going there, we were on tour with a band called Sleeping Giant, and those dudes are like into scary shit, kind of lore about things. And so when we were on tour with them, and it was our first time playing the Rave, and so leading up, like days before, they started talking about the Rave and sharing all these stories and all this crazy stuff. And so they had told us, back when it was like a YMCA community space, that serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer had picked up his first victim from the Rave, and that it was like at the swimming pool gym area, like he would frequent there, and he lived across the street in an apartment building and picked up his first victim there and brought him back to his apartment building and cut the guy into pieces and froze part of his body and buried part at his mom's house and kept the head frozen until it decayed. It was all sorts of crazy stuff. So they were getting super geeked out about our adventures going to the Rave and sharing stories about it being haunted and different things that people had seen and heard and felt, and they got us pretty hyped up. So, I started doing a little bit of research just to be prepared for what we're going to walk into. And, basically the narrative that had formed, again, I'm not giving a history lesson, I'm just telling what happened from my perspective. They had kind of filled in some gaps that across the street at the apartment building, which is now a hotel called, I believe it's the Admiral Hotel. Jeffrey Dahmer, his room was room 213 back when it was the apartment building. Slayer has a song called Room 213, and Church of Misery has a song, I think it's called Room 213. So there's this whole lore about Jeffrey Dahmer and his apartment 213. So, the venue had booked us rooms across the street at the Admiral Hotel. So we go in, and, we're all geeked out about Room 213, Jeffrey Dahmer, and all the history and stuff. So all these metal dudes and Demon Hunter and Sleeping Giant walk up to the front desk and checking in. The guy was super polite, nice, 3-piece suit. He's like, cool, I've got some rooms up ready for you on the 3rd floor. And I was like, oh, yeah, actually, if you don't mind, if room 213 is available, I'd like to stay in room 213. And the guy kind of looks up from his computer and rolls his eyes at me and just shakes his head, looks back down, and he's like, okay, great, so I've got you in whatever, 3:30. And I was like, no, really, man, if 213 is available, I'd like to get into that room. And the dude, flipped. Got really pissed at us, and he's like, seriously, it is not funny. That is not funny at all. I'm not even playing this game, just losing it. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. Chill out, man. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. So, of course, we go check into our rooms on the 3rd floor. And then instantly, once we drop our bags, we're like, we're going to go find room 213. So, this group of 10 metal dudes all jump in the elevator. We take it down a floor. We get out, and we're kind of navigating our way around the floor trying to find room 213. And it's, towards midway down this long hallway. So we all pile down this skinny long hallway, and we get to room 213. At the end of the hall, door opens, and all these hotel employees come walking out, and they're having a staff meeting or whatever. So it's 15 employees all walking by, and we're trying to stand there inconspicuous, standing in the hallway, and they're all kind of rolling their eyes at us as they walk by. And then the manager comes out and kind of walks down, stops, and he's like, "Let me guess, you guys are trying to find room 213." And so I immediately pull out my key card to my room, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, we're staying here. You know, we're not trespassing or anything. Yeah, we're looking for 213. You know, we're just staying a floor up or whatever." And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "It's cool." And he's like, you know, this whole building has like been remodeled since then, and you know, door numbers have changed. Like, who even knows what really is 213? But I was like, "Well, you know, have you heard any stories or like people said weird things or anything?" And he's like, yeah, you know, I don't really give any credence to it." And he's like, "But sure, yeah, people come in here all the time and want to see room 213 and all that kind of stuff." So, of course, after we get checked in, we go over and we do sound check and stuff like that. And then immediately, like, the ghost hunt is on with the Sleeping Giant guys. And they're, like, leading us around. We're, like, picking locks.
There before?
Yeah, they'd been there once before. So, again, the building is massive. I don't even know what to compare it to, but it is. It's like a giant 5-story kind of... not Gothic, not colonial, just kind of like, I don't know, 20s kind of architecture. But yeah, there's all these hallways and passageways and rooms they don't use anymore. And so we spent hours combing through that place trying to get to the swimming pool.
That's crazy. There's a shitload of orbs, and right before I took the picture, the whole thing gets staticky. Did you hear that?
All right, so I got to take a second real quick and tell you about Harry's razors. Now, let me tell you this little story. When I was a little boy, I used to watch my dad shave, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world because those things are blades, you know, like he was shaving his face. He could grow a beard, and he used blades to do it. And I thought it was so cool, and I looked forward to the day when I would shave. Then that day came, and I did not enjoy it. And I think I figured out why. It's because I was using not really good shaving equipment. I wasn't using good blades. I was just getting the cheap stuff, and I just found it a pain. And I mean that literally. It was like painful. And that is until Harry's came along. I love Harry's so much because the quality of the shave and the blade. It's a super close shave. It glides good. It's satisfying, and I feel great when I'm done shaving. Now, here's the thing. Harry's is so confident that you will love their blades like I do. They'll give you their trial shave set for free when you sign up at harrys.com/labeled. All you got to do is pay for shipping. Harry's is all about a great shave at a fair price, and that's why over 3 million guys have switched to Harry's. Jeff and Andy are just two ordinary guys who were fed up with buying overpriced razors, so they started Harry's to fix shaving, and I think they did it. They bought their own German factory with over 100 years of blade making experience to ensure the highest quality products, and they're backed by 100% quality guarantee, of course. Harry's offers their blades at half the price of leading 5-blade razors, selling directly to you over the internet, which makes it a great deal. So here's what you need to do, and I'm telling you, you need to do this. You need to claim your free trial offer at Harry's today. It's a $13 value, and it's free when you sign up. You just cover shipping. Your free trial set will include a weighted ergonomic razor handle, 5 precision engineered blades with lubricating strip and trimmer blade, rich lathering shave gel, and a travel blade cover. So to get your free trial set, go to harrys.com/labeled right now. That's harrys.com/labeled.
All the lore is the swimming pool is where, like, whatever, all the haunted stuff.
Do you remember anything specifically that they said?
Yeah, they said there's a chair that sits in the middle of the swimming pool.
What's that back down there?
There's a junction for the tunnels that cut across on the other side of the pool. And just one single chair in the middle of the swimming pool. And if you move that chair, it'll move itself back to the middle of the swimming pool. And there's always a chair in the middle of the swimming pool. So, we combed that place for hours, and you go through this like creepy boiler room with, just these giant like wood burning stoves or coal burning stoves that like heated the swimming pool back in the day. And then you kind of funnel that up through, the bathroom area where supposedly Jeffrey Dahmer, scoped out his victims in that bathroom. And then on the other side of that is this gigantic swimming pool. And, people haven't been back there for years. And it's abandoned and dusty, and there's, graffiti on it. And then, sure enough, there is a chair sitting in the middle of the swimming pool, just like an hour before they said there was going to be one there. And sure enough, there was one sitting in there.
Is that the chair? That looks like blood.
That does look like blood.
What calls that chair with blood on it?
That does look like blood.
Bloody chair. Hydraulic jack. Bloody chair up ahead. Bloody chair.
Oh my God! You did that. I think someone would actually go crazy down here.
So we go in and, just having fun, exploring and looking around at everything. And then I don't remember who moved the chair, but somebody moved the chair. And everyone's like, oh, man, it's going to get real now that chair's moved.
And we're talking about going on our little ghost hunt tonight. Dude, what's the story with the pool room?
So apparently the pool closed down because a bunch of kids died in the pool. They were drowned. And so they didn't let people come in, so they closed the pool down. And apparently,
so we go about our business, going on, and play our show and all that kind of stuff. And so, like I said, a bunch of us went up to the catwalk to watch Stone Temple Pilots, and a couple people went back downstairs and found their way back to the pool to see if the chair was back in the pool. And sure enough, in this abandoned area that nobody's been to, the chair is back to the middle of the pool.
No way.
I am not witness to it, but the people that went and looked for it said the chair was back in the middle of the pool. I can't verify that, but it was back in the middle of the pool.
On the afternoon of September 10th, 1927, just 3 days before the Eagles Club building opened to the public, Francis Wren, age 15, dived into the swimming pool. More than 40 people were in the pool at the time. Most of them were classmates from West Division High School, and no one noticed when Francis failed to resurface. Minutes later, another diver bumped into Francis's body, floating near the bottom of the pool's 9.5-foot deep end. Firefighters responded and performed artificial respiration for more than an hour and a half, but could not revive the boy. It was initially speculated that he died as a result of a heart attack, but an autopsy confirmed that drowning was the cause of his death. There was no sign of heart disease. No one has ever explained how an athletic young man known to be an expert swimmer and diver could have drowned unnoticed in a pool filled with other swimmers. His death has remained a mystery for 90 years.
I'll torture you and haunt you. I've got you where I want you, a victim of my dark and dirty plot. And at the slightest whim, I'll tear you limb from limb. In other words, I'll put you on the spot. Ooh, I'm the boogie.
Have you ever been to the basement?
Yes. Yeah, well, I don't know if you call it the basement, but like the pool room and the locker rooms and some of that stuff is at least underground, or so I don't know if that counts as the basement, but yeah.
Well, so there's a couple different, it's like there's different underground floors, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did you guys see this little stairway right over here that goes down even farther?
That's where we're going.
That's where we're going, right?
Yep. And then the tunnels are actually, see these windows here? The tunnels wrap around the pool and then do a circuit around the building.
The pool is like the first floor down, and then below the pool, I think, is the boiler room, and maybe even below that is the basement. The employees who work at the Rave have talked about like a former employee who must have died, and his name is Jack.
Apparently under the pool there's the boiler room. And there's a guy named Frank or Fred who passed away, who used to work down at the boiler room.
Right.
Take You Back Sunday came through here a while ago, apparently, and they saw the chair start shaking.
Really?
And they just freaked out and left, apparently.
He is said to haunt the boiler room. And like people have reported there'll be like a chair that will vibrate and shake that's in the boiler room. And then, I don't know if you have seen this video, but there's video on YouTube, and it's these guys like walking through the boiler room, and you can hear the scariest voice saying to get out, but it's like whispered.
who was it? We had a band here not even a month ago. I'll take them on this tour.
The first time I ever went to the Rave, I thought it was so crazy. But we started hearing from some of the people that this place was haunted and there was all these crazy places beneath, even below all of the venue rooms. And so we went on a walk and we started walking around this massive club in Milwaukee. We kept going farther and farther down until eventually we found like an old like swimming pool room, and there was all these side rooms, and it just felt unbelievably creepy.
My name's Seth. I was the original drummer for Emery. I went to the Rave in Milwaukee. It was on the first Tooth and Nail tour, like the very first Tooth and Nail tour ever, with Me Without You, Anberlin, and Watashiwa, I believe. We were down in the green room, which is like down in the basement of basements, and it was really creepy. And this one guy, I think Kyle, he was like the merch guy for Watashiwa or somebody. I don't know, he like started looking weird, like looking super uncomfortable, and like, dude, what's up? He's like, I am just getting the creeps from down here. And then we like started walking around, just around in the basement, but the whole vibe of it was just dark and gray and heavy, I guess.
Okay, pardon the interruption here, but I got to tell you for a minute about a company called Me Undies. Now, Me Undies makes feel-good undies that your butt would be proud to wear. And it's important to make your butt happy. Trust me on that one. And here's the other thing. They will be the most comfortable pair of underwear that you will ever own. And to check it out for yourself, we want you to go to meundies.com/labeled. They've got tons of styles, tons of patterns to choose from. They got stuff for men. They got stuff for ladies. MeUndies will have the perfect fit for any personality. They've got some really cool stuff over there now. Leopard print this. They've got some stuff with skulls on it, perfect for Halloween. They have all kind of stuff. It's fun to look at. It's especially fun to open your underwear drawer and find this kind of stuff in it instead of the boring old stuff. Every Tuesday morning you wake up, it's just another pair of, white underwear. Not with MeUndies. You can have some great stuff in your drawer. It will make you feel good. And not just mentally, I'm telling you, physically, the MeUndies feeling is unmatched because they use a naturally soft fabric that is, and hear what I'm saying here, 3 times softer than cotton. For a limited time only, you can check out MeUndies' first ever, get this, glow-in-the-dark print. Lights out. Seriously. So why not update your underwear drawer and glow at the same time? And if underwear isn't your thing, MeUndies also makes the softest socks in the world. So if you're not an underwear person, maybe you're a socks person. Maybe you care about socks. MeUndies is still the place to go. You know what I have? I have a pair of orange MeUndies. Orange is my favorite color, and it gives me great pleasure to be able to put those on, walk around all day knowing I'm wearing some super soft, comfortable underwear that's orange, like the Clemson Tigers, the football team I love. And, I'm wearing plain clothes on the outside, but I feel great knowing that I've got those orange things on underneath. So here's the best part. To get 20% off of the softest underwear and socks you will ever own and free shipping and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to meundies.com/labeled. That's meundies.com/labeled.
The popularity of the Eagles Club began to wane, and it started to fall into disrepair. And so one man had the idea of turning the Eagles Club basement into a temporary homeless shelter for men who had been living on the streets of Milwaukee. Locals say that the shelter operator was a vile and abusive man, and while the shelter is long gone, his oppressive presence is still felt by those who dare to wander into the basement of the Rave. Rave staff members and touring bands have reported icy cold spots in the basement where the shelter used to be. Some have even seen a shadow man and felt a heavy negative presence and energy.
You get that thing when you're in there and you get spooked out, just like if you've watched a horror movie and you get around other people, there's that energy that where it's creepy. So it's hard to tell, but there's no way you wouldn't find it creepy naturally, visually, plus the history.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, is there any room for me to think that there was a creepy presence in there? I couldn't deny that it is a genuinely creepy presence. Well, they have, I think it's 5 different venues. There's the big giant one, and then the first one we played in is just a stage that's in the bar on the very, very, very side. And then there's like a big room in the middle, and then at least one other one, and they're all kind of spread out, and then the pool's kind of up under all of those. And so if you're in different parts of the building, you can legitimately hear maybe more than one concert, 2 or 3 concerts going on at one time. And when I say hear, I don't even necessarily mean hear. I mean feel. Like it's, you'll hear the music mixing together from different venues and concerts where there's totally different energies and different crowds, different music, and it can be going on at the same time, which doesn't normally sound like a creepy thing, but it is in this building.
People report hearing like groups of kids laughing, and then they'll hear children crying. And they'll have like this overwhelming sense of fear and dread, and they can like never find the source of the laughter or the crying. People have even seen like groups of children playing, but they're like see-through ghost children. And it'll be like, after the building's already locked up. Like, it's super creepy.
Yeah, it's the kind of place where you can't, it's the kind of place where you feel like lucky to get to check it out. Because it's not a tour. Mm-hmm. It's not a tour. It's not like everything is always commercialized with haunted house and creepy this or creepy that kind of thing. Like you go to a tour and they tell you the ghost story. But it's not like that. It's like you just go into this regular venue that you get to play, and it's super creepy. But nobody at the venue tells you that or wants you to think that or go exploring or figure out what's there. Like they don't act that way about it, and it's just. It feels more legitimate and somehow because it's not something that the general public does. It's not monetized or anything like that. Yeah. It's just an actual place that has really creepy history, and the way it looks and the way it feels is just 100% authentically creepy, and not any. It's 100% authentically creepy, genuinely so.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. My name is Matt Carter. I do this show along with Toby Morrell and Aaron Lunsford. This show is also produced, edited, and mixed by Melanie Studley. Assistant producers Marshall Fremuth and Reva Hansen and Tyson Paletti. Special thanks to Adam Scatula from Tooth and Nail for helping to develop the show. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.
Someone get the baby. Mama, turn all the lights on. Somebody pull the shade.